California Big One earthquake. Warning by the seismologists because of the earthquake swarms that we've been having the past few days. Earthquake surge puts the U.S. on alert and sparks imminent mega-quake panic. It's by Ollie Smith on Express UK, having to do with the warnings given recently by the USGS geologists. They're obliged to do this because they have to save lives. They have to alert people to be ready. The same thing has been going on, for example, lately in New Zealand. We saw this first going on with the North Island, a warning given there of a mega-quake coming, the same thing going with the South Island, mega-quake coming. And actually we did get the mega-quake 7.3 and tremendous amounts of aftershocks around 6 and 5 magnitude, and they're still going on north of the North Island. Thank goodness it was not on the North Island. It was off in an area of the Pacific Ocean which was unpopulated. So that's the good aspect of it. It did not hit directly on the North Island. But they're still not out of danger. And anyway, that's the job of the geologists, to predict, try and come up with a type of a formula by deformation, by quake swarms, by gas emissions, by various types of tremors, and taking all this into account. The fourth, yes, another one is the gravity, having to do with the increase in gravity, meaning that there's an upwell of a magma plume there in the area. So if that's the case, which was in New Zealand from what I understand, so they have the obligation to tell people, and the authorities, of course, have to alert that they have to be ready. Now, California has been hit by a big one, mega-quake warning, after scientists revealed that more than 1,000 small earthquakes in the so-called Swarmageddon struck the U.S. state, California, over the past 3 weeks. A Swarmageddon, well, that's what they call it here, but it's actually an earthquake swarm struck California recent weeks. We've had various videos on this. This is not fear-mongering. This is what the geologists are coming up and warning about. These things actually did take place. Now, there are people that leave me comments saying we didn't feel anything, people that live out there. But the thing is that they may have been too small for you to feel. Maybe some did feel them, maybe you didn't, maybe you were walking, or maybe you're not that sensitive to it, but they did take place. Their earthquake monitors are so sensitive that they can pick up earthquakes that are that measure the displacement of Earth, the fraction of a hair, of a human hair. UNAFCO is in charge of that. So they did take place. It's concerning, prompting concerns that the mega-quake, they say, could be imminent in the earthquake-prone California state, sitting along the Pacific Ring of Fire. It's been hit with more than 1,000 small earthquakes in the past 3 weeks. The earthquake surge has been a shock. It's raised fears of the long-anticipated big one. We're talking about especially the southern area around Los Angeles. This is where most of the earthquake swarms have been going on, and they're still taking place. Thousands of minor earthquakes struck San Bernardino and Riverside counties in less than a month. Experts warn that these small earthquakes, especially those near the fault lines, like the San Andreas, could be disastrous warning signs that something is taking place there. And now we know we've had recent earthquake activity and volcanic activity around the Ring of Fire. Of course, the New Zealand quake was Ring of Fire. Also, we have the Popo volcano blasting away, is still going on, and Colima as well in Mexico, and tremendous amounts of earthquakes every single hour going on there, and they're on the San Andreas fault. Now, the size of the mega-quake would spark an almost immediate tsunami and cause widespread devastation. So it's not just the quake, it's also the tsunami. slushing back and forth. Andreas Lenus, a research geophysicist with the U.S. Geological Survey, explained, anytime you have an increase in the number of small earthquakes, you're likely to increase the likelihood of a slightly larger earthquake happening. In other words, I guess he's sort of comparing them to foreshocks. He said, I would redefine normal as you should still be prepared for a large earthquake. We do not know a big earthquake is going to happen. He says we do know a big earthquake is going to happen. Dr. Lenus warned that if the surge continues, he's talking about the earthquake swarms, a significant earthquake in California would be increasingly imminent. Fellow USGS geologist Robert Graves added on his remark, he says that the earthquake swarm was likely due to small cracks or weaknesses in the Earth's crust. Okay, well, of course. Every time you have deformation in an earthquake, of course the Earth crust cracks. Now, according to Dr. Graves, a magnitude 7 quake would have a fault length of about 30 miles, while a magnitude 8 event would have a fault line of more than 250 miles crack. He pointed out that the recent swarm activity took place in a much smaller region of only a few square miles. Seismologist, in other words, it was concentrated in that area, in a very small area. Seismologist Lucy Jones downplayed the prospect of a cataclysmic earthquake, telling LA Times the idea that little earthquakes make the big one less likely does not work. In other words, just because we had little ones, it doesn't mean that the pressure has been dissipated, that it's gone. No, that doesn't work that way, she says. And the idea that it makes it certain to happen does not work. Any earthquake has a slight increase in the chance of having something worse on the way, but mostly it's really small. Now, according to the latest prediction, there is only a 5% chance that any single earthquake will be followed by a large one. So we'll keep an eye out on this, because as we know, they're still going on. Now, as I'm talking to you, let me see if I can get into the live earthquake map. Okay. And we've had 3 magnitudes today in that area. They're still going. 3 is not that small. But the thing is that here they only show over 2.5 magnitude. So there must have been a lot of smaller ones as well. So they're still going on. Okay, now I'm on the Seismo Monitor Alatra, and I see that there's a huge amount of swarms right in that area south of Los Angeles. This is the area that they say is locked and loaded. It's the area that has not had a major earthquake in hundreds of years, and that it is really overdue. So, anywhere between Los Angeles and even south of that, going down to San Diego, is full of quake swarms. Okay? Between Los Angeles and San Diego. So please be alert, please be ready, because the whole ring of fire is moving, especially south of that in Mexico. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.